Oh, Serena. Oh, Serena. Hello. Hello. Ma'am, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. You're just standing here clueless. No, also you don't do it. You have a whole scratching post. All right. Give it a minute. See if anybody else is gonna join us, and then we'll go ahead and get started in just a second. So make sure you have props if you are joining along at home. I always have at least one block. So a block or anything that's similar to a block will work. Chirp, chirp. All right, so we'll start. Let's go ahead and start standing up. So you can find your way to the top of your mat. Take a moment to get your feet situated as the foundation. So have your toes spreading nice and wide, and you can soften your knees for a moment so that you can spread and rock a little bit forward and a little bit back in your feet. Keep the splay. And take your hands to your hips. And with a little bit of a bend in your knees, notice if you skew toward tipping your butt up in the back, right? Or if you're very tucked under in the back and try to bring it to neutral, you can use your hands on the top of your hip bones as a little bit of a reference for that. Then also with your arms there, you can see how well your elbows line up from side to side, and you want them to be more or less both up and down to the side and front and back to the side, all in one level, all even with each other. Turn your abs on a little bit, lift your chest up a little bit, and roll your shoulders on your back. Then slide your ears back to align the center of your throat, all the way down with the rest of your spine, head and neck spine in line with the rest of your spine. If you'd like to set an intention for your practice, you can do that now while you stand here and focus on your breath. Okay, reach both of your arms up overhead, stretch tall, drop your chin back, open up through your throat for a few breaths. On your exhale, take your hands to your hips, step your feet wide, and send your hips back, bending your knees significantly for your forward fold. If you are pregnant, grab a block, grab your prop, and make sure that you have it so that if you feel the need to stop before the ground, it's there and you have something to support your upper body at an appropriate level. Otherwise, if you have full spinal flexion, you can just go ahead and let your head dangle down. And everybody's got a wider stance right now, so you can shift your weight a little bit to the left and a little bit to the right. You can nod your head yes and shake your head no a couple of times. Roll up to stand. Arms up when you get to the top. Actually, if you are pregnant, you're going to hinge up rather than roll up. Sort of rolling up goes away after about the first trimester. So once it becomes hard because you've got a belly in the way, don't worry about rounding. Just keep your spine lined up and hinged to the top. And so anytime you hear me say roll up to stand, just substitute, okay? Both arms up on your inhale. Exhale, take your left hand to your left hip and then tip over from the right to the left. A little bit of a side stretch, less is more. Inhale up with your right arm, exhale your right hand to your right hip, lift your left arm up on your inhale, and exhale, tip over from the left to the right. Inhale up to stand with both arms. Exhale your hands to your heart, hinge from your hips. Bend at your knees, forward fold. Half lift, inhale. Plant your hands, you're stepping back to plank. Again, plank after a certain point of pregnancy can become too much for your abs, at which point you switch to a floating table or even just a regular tabletop position and work on your spinal integrity. But everyone else, plank it up. Take one more big breath in. Exhale, drop down, tabletop position. Send your right leg straight back. Make sure that you're rolled into a neutral position so that your right pinky toe is on the ground evenly with the rest of your toes. And then float your left arm straight out in front of you and take a moment to feel that line. Lift your right leg up at the level of your hip. Hold it, breathe. Keep the line, tap your right toes down to the ground with control, and then back up, down, and then up, down, and then up. Take one more breath in through your left arm. Exhale, your left hand down to the ground, and your right toes down to the ground. Then pivot your right foot. So you were heel up. Now your heel's going to go to the left, and you're going to take your left foot and kickstand it behind you so that you can stack up for modified side plank, facing the right side of your mat. Your knee is down, your hips are pushing open so that you're longer through the front of your right hip, and you can take this top arm on your inhale, reach it long over your ear, and then on your exhale, cactus your arm. You can play around with where your gaze is. Inhale, lengthen your right arm. Exhale to cactus. We'll go again. Long inhale. This time, exhale, cartwheel up onto your left knee, right leg. Both arms up, stretch tall. Exhale, interlace your fingers, bring your hands to the back of your head, open your elbows backward and slide your chest up. Inhale, reach up with both arms. Exhale, cartwheel back around, plank, floating table or table. Hold and breathe. drop down into tabletop position. This time you're sending your left leg straight back with your toes dialed straight down, your hip neutral. Once you've got that locked into place, extend your right arm forward. Try to keep your torso neutral. With control, lift your left leg up in line with your hip. And exhale, slowly tap down. Inhale up, down, and inhale to the top. Keep it going. This time when you go up, stay up. Put your right hand back underneath your right shoulder. Drop your left toes back down and then pivot to stack up. Modified side plank facing the opposite direction. Reach your left arm forward with your palm facing down. Take a big breath in. Exhale, cactus your left arm. Reach on your inhale. Pull back on your exhale. Get long, breathe in. And cartwheel up onto your right knee, left leg. Good. Inhale, both arms up. Exhale, drop your left arm down, right arm up and over. Inhale, up with both arms. Exhale, your hands to the back of your head. Open your elbows back. Lift your chest up. Heart opener. Inhale, both arms up. Exhale, cartwheel your hands to the ground. Step to plank. Hold and breathe. If you're pregnant, you're dropping to your knees and you're either taking cow pose or puppy if you still have room for puppy. Everyone else, you're slowly lowering all the way down onto your belly. Unless you want to do the modification, please do. Put your forehead to the ground, roll your shoulders on your back, and engage your legs. Lift your head and chest up, look a little forward. Exhale, slowly lower, press back, child's pose for a breath. And downward facing dog, lift up and back. Inhale in between your hands. Exhale, step yourself up to the top of your mat or your space and forward fold over your legs. Roll up to stand. When you get to the top, breathe in and look up, reach tall. And we'll do some standard sun salves. Remember just to take your modifications as you need them. Exhale, hinge from your hips. That's pretty much always good, but make space with your feet wide if you're pregnant. Forward fold, bend your knees. But if you're pregnant, you're still just going to where you keep a nice intact spine. Half lift on your inhale, that's everybody. Plant your hands and step back to plank. Plank is depending on where you're at and where your core strength is at, because everybody's different. Plank is your inhale. You're taking your back bend of choice or necessity. Cobra, inhale. I'm just going to cue Cobra, but if you're pregnant, you're doing either your puppy or your cow pose. Back to child's pose. Wide knees if you're pregnant. Otherwise, you can have the option of knees together or wide. Take a big breath in. Exhale to downward facing dog. Widen your down dog if you're pregnant, make space for your belly. At some point, you also may want blocks underneath your hands so that the inversion isn't quite as intense. Or also it aids in the process of stepping forward. Inhale, look forward. Exhale, step to the top of your mat, forward fold. Either feet are together or feet are wide if you're pregnant. Come on up to stand, either unhinging or rolling up, again, depending on what's going on in your body. Reach up and look up. And now that I've reviewed those cues, we're gonna roll 1 breath per movement. Trust your body and your intuition to set appropriate limits. Exhale, hinge forward. Half lift, look forward. Plant your hands, step to plank. Plank, inhale. Exhale to lower. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, down dog. Gaze forward, breathe in. Step forward and exhale to fold. Roll on up, inhale. Fold forward, exhale. Half lift, inhale. Plant your hands, step to plank. Last time to plank, fill up. Exhale to lower. Cobra, breathe in. Down dog, breathe out. Inhale, look forward, step your right foot forward and spin your left heel down. Let's go to warrior 2. Rise to stand, take up space on your mat, make sure you're stable, and then sit into the strength of your right leg. Make sure your knee is tracking over your second and third toe. Drop your left arm down, reach your right arm straight up, then drop your left ear straight down to your left shoulder until you feel a neck stretch. You can go back with it more, but keep that right arm up instead of by your ear to get a little bit more of a stretch. Inhale up with your right arm, and then exhale your right elbow to your right knee, stack it right over your knee, and then roll your left side to be on top of your right side. Hold and breathe, get long for your left side. You can look straight down at your right foot, or you can look over your left shoulder, or just even straight ahead, and that's fine. For the last breath in, reach your left arm long, then stand up. Straighten your right leg, take your left toes and turn them out slightly, and then you're gonna lean into your left leg and pull your right toes up. And take your right arm forward and your left arm back and look over your right thumb. So left elbow back, right arm forward. Your elbow's about up in line with your shoulder and your gaze is right at your thumb. Take a big breath in. Exhale back into a warrior 2 stance. Warrior 2. Reverse inhale. Straighten your right leg, exhale. And then hinge yourself laterally forward over your right leg. Push your hips a little forward. Stack your left side over your right side. You can take that left arm and either left hand to left hip, left arm long, left arm straight up, or any variations that you might know for your triangle pose. Reach long and forward with your left arm, breathe in, and then exhale, stand up, warrior 2. Inhale to reverse, and exhale your hands to the ground. Step to plank or your version of plank. Inhale, exhale to lower. Back bend of choice. Inhale, exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, look forward. Step your left foot between your hands. Your right foot goes back. Warrior two. Right toes to the right, left toes straight forward. Sit into the strength in your hips. Then arms out. Hold. Drop your right arm down. Lift your left arm straight up, and then your right ear goes to your right shoulder. You can bend back more from your waist, but keep that left arm straight up so that you get a little bit more out of your neck. Good. Inhale up. Exhale, extended side angle. Stack your left elbow right over your left knee, and then your right arm goes forward or to your hip. Gaze can be down, straight in front of you, or to your right shoulder. Come on up. So reach with your right arm, stand it up, turn your right toes out a little. Good, and then reach, and you're rocking back, pull your left toes up. Get your right elbow up and look straight forward over your left thumb. Hold and breathe. It's like a very high skandasana, very high side lunge. Bring it back forward. Inhale to reverse and straighten your left leg. Exhale to hinge forward over your left leg and stack your right side over your left side for triangle. Any position with this top arm that works for you. Good. Inhale up. Reverse. Exhale your hands to frame your left foot. Step back plank or your version of plank. On your inhale, exhale, lower or take your version of a back bend, cobra or upward facing. Exhale, downward facing dog. Center your left foot a little bit more on your mat. Lift your right leg up. And you're welcome to keep it neutral, leg in line with your hip, hips not stacked. If you want a little more, you can stack everything open to the right. Turn your right toes to the right, lift higher with your inner thigh. Look forward, step your right foot forward, back into warrior two. Reverse your warrior two on your inhale. Extended side angle on your exhale. Reach your left arm long, breathe in. This time, cactus your left arm, breathe out. Reach long, inhale. Cactus, exhale. Keep it going. Last time, reach, breathe in. Take it all the way up. Turn your left toes out. Archer, pull your right toes up as you rock your weight into your left leg. Warrior two, forward. Inhale, reverse, straighten your left leg. Sorry, your right leg. Exhale, lean forward over your right leg. Triangle pose. Take your left arm forward on your inhale. On your exhale, pivot. Put your left hand down to the floor or a block possibly, and then turn your right heels up. You're in a lunge. Now, pregnant peoples, you stay. All right? You just stay. Ill-advised to twist in this position. But you can focus on right hip back, left hip forward, and get your hips nice and stable. And that almost might feel like a twist. Everybody else, you're going into a twist, left arm down, right arm up. With that same right hip back, left hip forward to keep you nice and stable in the hips. One more breath in. Everybody, right hand to the inside of your right foot, left knee down. And you can either sink your hips more forward and look up here, or even come on up with your hands on your knee. Again, when you're pregnant, A, you got the relaxing going on. B, your muscles might be ready to go, but the skin over the muscles might not want to go. So be aware of the skin stretching and let the tightness, like the beginning of tightness in your skin, guide how much further you go. When the skin starts to get tight, regardless of what the muscles feel like they might want to do, chill. All right, both hands down, step back plank. Plank is your inhale. Version of a vinyasa, up to you, lower down. Cobra or upward facing. Inhale. Downward facing. Exhale. All right, center your left foot a little bit on the mat. Lift your left leg up in line with your hip first and foremost. Maybe that's where you stop. Or if you spin open more, that's fine if it feels good. Look forward, step your left foot forward. Warrior one, rise up. Sorry, warrior two. Wow, put your head in the game. Warrior two. Inhale to reverse. Exhale into extended side angle. Stacking your right side over your left side. Inhale long with your right arm. Cactus your arm on your exhale. Inhale forward. Cactus, breathe out. Again, reach, breathe in. And stand it up. Turn your right toes out. Rock into the heel of your left toes. Archer. Forward into warrior two. Reverse and straighten your left leg. Inhale. Exhale, forward over your left leg. Triangle. Reach up with your right arm on your inhale, and then exhale, spin down into your lunge with your hands to the inside of your left leg. Your right heel is up, your right toes are down. Maybe you're staying like this, or maybe you're twisting left. One more breath in. Exhale, both hands down to the inside of your left foot. Untuck your toes. Lift your gaze up and sink your hips forward, or maybe even come up a level onto your left knee with both hands. Glutes active, stretching in the front of your hip. Back bend as much as feels good. Good, both hands to the ground, tuck your right toes, lift your right knee, inhale, exhale, walk your hands to the right one time, turn your toes in, turn your heels out for wide-legged forward fold. Here again, if you're pregnant, you're gonna wanna keep a nice neutral spine. You can go down as low as you can, as long as your spine is not rounding in. Everybody else, You could use that strategy, or you're welcome to round your spine. Your hands can be anywhere that facilitate your balance in the shape. Remember, toes are in, inner thighs are spiraling in, and you want to feel your quads working and your weight a little into your forefoot. Half lift inhale. Walk your hands to your right foot. Turn your left toes out a little bit and sit deeper into your right hip for a proper skandasana. Take an inhale. On your exhale, use as much hand as you need to transition to skandasana over in your left leg. One more time to the right. One more time to the left. Crawl to the right, turn, drop your left knee down to the ground, and let your head just hang over your right leg. Sink your hips forward and find a stretch in the front of your left hip. I have my hands framing my right leg. If you have a baby belly, just don't compress it with your leg. Send your hips back. Notice I did not bring my upper body up, although if you are pregnant, same thing is going to apply in this forward fold as every other forward fold. You're not rounding and flexioning your spine, even though everybody else can choose to do that if they want to. You got to keep your spine neutral and then sit your hips back and straighten your leg with a nice neutral spine, making plenty of room for your abdomen. Everybody else, if you want to bend a little into your right knee and round your spine as a strategy, that is also fine. Lean back forward and then crawl it from your low lunge through skandasana to low lunge over your left leg on the other side of your mat. You can move your left arm outside of your left leg, just don't squeeze your belly if you have a reason not to squeeze your belly, and just let your head hang down. And you're seeking a stretch now in the front of your right hip. Send your hips back, find your spinal strategy, half split. Good, rock it back forward, tuck your right toes, lift your right knee, and come to the middle, extra super wide, your widest, but with muscular control. You can drop down, hands to the ground or forearms to the ground. Go wider than before. You want your toes in a little bit for some breaks. Hold and breathe. This is less of a wide-legged forward fold and somewhere between a wide-legged forward fold and a middle split, but we're not really going to the middle splits today. Hands to the ground. If you had previously dropped to your forearms, walk your hands a little forward, then drop one knee down, drop the other knee down, bring your toes together and your knees very wide. They're even wider, right? And then come on down. Space for baby. Hands out in front of you and take it down. You're trying to get even more into the groin, even more toward a middle split. But again, we're not going to go there today. This is just a prep. Unless you're like super comfortable in your middle splits, in which case be my guest. If this is not enough of a groin stretch for you, and you're not full of relaxin, then you can take your feet out so that you're creating a 90-degree angle between your knees and your ankles, your thighs and your knees, your ankles and your toes. So triple 90. You want if you come too far forward, you lose the stretch, hips forwardness, right? So keep your hips, find the sweet spot where a little bit forward gets you a little more stretch, but not too forward where you lose the stretch and the strength. Hold it for another, let's say, 5 breaths. Slowly make your way up. Slide your knees in and stand up on your knees. So we're going to do some camel. If you have a belly, then that's going to be already kind of stretched. So you will be focusing from your rib cage up. Everybody else, as long as you have good integrity through the front of your hips, you can back bend as much as you want to. All right, let's go with a toe tucked position, and everybody can start with their hands supporting their sacrum and their low back. Roll your shoulders open and onto your back. Squeeze your butt muscles. Lift your chest up and then drop your head back. Maybe that's where you stay. So we'll all do just that this first round. Lead with your heart. Come on up. Untuck your toes. Sit down for a couple of breaths to reset. So next round, your knees are about hip width distance. You're either going to repeat what you did before, or with your toes tucked, you'll reach back for the outside of your heels, okay? Your shoulders stay rolled open, classically tight in my shoulder, so I'm not going to present beautifully here, but chest up with as much integrity as possible. Slowly come up, lead with your heart. to restock. Untuck your toes, sit back down. And we're gonna do a third time. I'm gonna go ahead and start explaining it. You're still gonna rest, don't follow along just yet. So I have a towel here. So let's say you had a long strappy-ish object nearish by. A nice way to get more out of your shoulders, if your shoulders are tight, is to grab the longer object in your fingers with your thumbs pointing out, but behind you. Then you rip it apart, roll your shoulders open, and then everything else is the same, right? So that's one way to skin that cat. Take your hands into your pants and do it with your pants. If you don't have anything else and there's enough sturdiness to the fabric that you can get away with that. That's two workarounds for tight-shouldered people to take you deeper. If you have enough mobility in your shoulders to grab the inside of your ankles instead of the outside of your ankles, you will be able to roll your shoulders more open. But if you start hurting your elbows or dumping into your low back excessively, then back off of that. So third round, now you can set it up how it's gonna work for you, and we'll go again. Slowly come on up. Sit down. Hang out. Couple of breaths. I'm always blown away at how breathing feels so much nicer after opening up like that part of my chest. And then I just always get to the same place of reflecting on the fact that I'm so tight there. And there are people that walk around with that part just free and open all the time. And it just makes me wonder what it's like to be them. All right, sit down on the ground, 1 foot in, 1 foot long out in front of you. We're setting up for Janu. Okay, it's a forward fold. So guess what? All the other forward fold advice applies here when it comes to pregnancy. So feel free to be in it, but you're gonna stop where your spine stays neutral and where you have space for your abdomen. So we'll all go just straight for now. If you or anybody else without a baby on board, you can curl into it more. Everybody lift halfway, regardless of where you were. Gonna drop your, stack a little to the left and drop your right arm to the inside of your leg so there's something to kind of brace against. And maybe that's just where you stay and you stack up left side over right side, left hand to your left hip. You can look straight down, forward, or over your left shoulder. And you're just looking for a left side stretch. You can take it as far with that as you want to. I'm going to stay less is more today myself. Slowly curl up. Switch. Extend your left leg. Pull your right knee, right foot in to the inside of your left leg. Hinge or round over your left leg. Wow, Siri, that is a very serious what do you have going on there? It's shameful, actually. Come on up. Drop your left arm to the inside of your left leg. Take your right hand to your right hip. And you got a little bit of a pressure with your left hand against your left leg so that you can roll and stack your right ribs and shoulder over your left side. And of course, you're welcome to laterally hinge and reach as much as feels good. Again, I'm just going to keep it a little bit minimal here. So we're rolling and stacking, and I'm just seeking a stretch along my right side. Good. Come on up. Let's do 13 minutes. Let me do one more like seating thing before we go all the way down. Let's just go with a wide-legged fold. We've done a lot of wide knee, wide leg stuff, so let's just go with that. So legs wide. You're not going your maximum width. First thing, pregnancy folks, keeping a neutral spine with room for your baby belly. On that note, I will say that having a vertical surface to lean against for your head can be a nice option. So, and that option applies for anybody who's also a little bit tight in their back. As long as you can pitch forward of your hips, if you're kind of stuck, right, and you're not far down yet, having something up higher just to hold your head is a nice option. And that is also, again, a nice appropriate modification for those who are protecting the abdomen for pregnancy purposes. Everybody else, per usual, you can round if you want to. Head down, get as long through your spine as possible. Everybody can practice some glute isolations while we're here. So that means squeeze your right butt cheek and then let it go. Squeeze your left butt cheek and let it go. Back and forth several times. And then you can try doing both at the same time and relaxing, contract, relax. It is essentially the building blocks for twerking. However, even though it is of course that, it is also highly functional to release all of the muscles that are deep inside of the pelvic floor, and everybody has one of those. And it's very essential that those muscles play nice with one another and with other parts of the body. So you can practice that. And you may find that that attachment between your glute and your hamstrings loosens up a bit. You may find that the muscles right high up in the hip, in the groin area, sort of groin butt connection area, or they loosen up a bit when you do that. And when that happens, if it does so happen that you loosen up, you can slide yourself a little bit more forward and use that looseness to tilt your pelvis. This is your pelvic bowl. Tilt it more forward, and that will take you even deeper. You start less deep. Use the isolations to loosen things up in the pelvic floor and in the glutes and groin, and then leverage that into a bigger stretch. And then let's sit with it for like 5 more breaths. Good. Slowly come on up. Make your way onto your back. Take your block with you. You're going to bridge up, slide your block underneath your hips, and then legs long. So you're welcome to stay like this. Here are some variations that you can take. Pregnancy, probably you're chilling like this, and even this may be a little bit uncomfortable depending on how much relaxin your body has released. So be conscientious of your ligaments and everything. But let's say you're good, all right? One knee in and stay kicking long through the opposite leg. That's going to give you a very good stretch to the leg that remains long. You can do that on both sides. You can take a more bilateral approach, bridge your hips up, take the block up to a higher setting to support your bridge. So it's on your sacrum, it's not in your low back. It's over the back of your pelvis, not the rounded part of your spine, or concave part of your spine. That's an option. If that's going well and you know you have nothing going wrong up in your cervical spine, and by wrong, I don't mean you don't feel pain, but rather that you actually have pretty good alignment. How do you know? You don't have like major tech neck, no dowager's hump going on at the top of your shoulders. Otherwise, maybe stay here and relax. But if you want to, from here, elbows down into the ground for support, lift your legs up. First bent with bent knees, then straight legs, and you can either stay with your legs up, or you can hike your hips up higher for shoulder stand. Legs straight up over your shoulders. I'm gonna ditch this because I want to get into it. You can get higher up. That feels better. You want your hands on the skin of your back, if possible, so that you can help the skin go up. Again, that's a safety thing for your neck. Three to 5 more breaths, and we'll come on down from there. Let's go half happy baby. Plant your left foot down, grab your right foot in your right hand, and your right knee comes down to the outside of your rib cage. You can go to the 90-90 and just keep it, or you can hand over the bottom of your foot and extend your leg out to the side. You want this left leg to remain as an anchor. So it is actively down, your glutes and outer hip are there to help stabilize. Good. Release. Feet together, both knees bending. Pregnancy folks, you're going to drop both of your knees and roll to the left. You're going to bring your knees in tight to your chest and then left hand to your rib cage. Everything below your rib cage stays. You can send your right arm a little bit to the right, but you want the twist to be just sort of from right below the armpit in your ribs and up. Sort of a shoulder and lat release more than like a huge spinal twist. Never twisting from the waist down once you're pregnant. Everybody else, you can take the twist as deep as feels good for you. All the same rough mechanics apply in the setup, but you can do more with your legs. You can open, you can bend just the one leg, the other leg goes straight. Both legs can be straight and at 90-degree angles with each other. Just make sure that you shimmy your shoulders enough that your spine is in good alignment. Roll back to the center, plant your right foot, tap happy baby, your left foot into your left hand and then to the outside of your rib cage, or grab the bottom of your foot and extend your leg to the left. Your right foot stays anchored. Slowly release and plant your left foot next to your right foot, then drop both of your knees to the right. Curl up into a little ball to the right with your knees up toward your chest a whole lot, and then shimmy your shoulders to the right and open your left arm to the left. If you're going deeper because you're not pregnant, go for it. Soften on your exhale, roll onto your back, either full happy baby or knees into your chest, forehead into your knees. You're going to take one last big breath in and exhale, lay yourself out on your back for Shavasana. As it feels good, roll your eyes around in your eye sockets 2 or 3 times clockwise and counterclockwise. Let your head go a little side to side. And take a good morning stretch. Make your way on up to a comfortable seat. And check back in with yourself the way you did at the beginning of your practice and notice any shifts, any changes, any openness, any areas that are giving you a little bit more feedback when you bring your awareness to them. If you set an intention, you can check back in with that. And we'll close it out with a cleansing breath. Breathe in through your nose. Open up. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. See you in the den.